Good morning, Rosemont Broncos. I wanted to start off this morning's advisory time by first of all saying thank you for all the feedback that you've been giving me through the surveys that you've uh, filled out over the last week and a half or so. And I also wanted to just say thank you for the 99% of you who have responded uh, properly with my appeal to just really curb the fight culture piece. Notice I said 99% of you, and I think that that is really something that I can look back and say, hey, some of you heard and understand that Rosemont Middle School um, really is a great place to be. Um, that being said, I also asked you guys to fill out some big questions, and I love reading those questions because they not only gave me a chance to reflect, but also gave me a chance to think about a lot of the conversations that I've been having with teachers, and through you guys through advisory, um, the conversations we've been having about what we want Rosemont Middle School to be. That being said, I don't think in 15 minutes I can get through all of the questions. So what I did is I went through the questions and sort of put them into groups. And really, there's three groups that of types of questions. One of them has to do with instruction. What is instruction going to look like next year? I'll be honest with you. I didn't have a lot of questions about instruction, but we're obviously coming to school for that. I'm not going to talk about that today. Um, I think as we head into next year, we'll talk more about things such as how can we improve, what classes can I take, what homework help can I get, what tutoring help can I get, what can my schedule look like next year to make sure that I'm not tardy to my classes. Those kinds of things we can definitely talk about next year, and I know that your assistant principals and I are going to be working hard over the summer to try to get all of that straight. So that's the instruction side. Not going to talk a lot about that today. The two sides that really did come out were the school operations side, which is really about how school works, um, how do we keep kids safe, things like that. The other side is the school experience side. What is it that's making school enjoyable for you? And so I want to talk about those two things. But before I do that, there was actually two questions that I wanted to answer first personally. One of them really centered on, Mr. Sanchez, what is the most difficult part of your job? And the other one is about, what are you passionate about? Sometimes it doesn't look like I enjoy my job, and I'm gonna answer that question really honestly for you guys, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Life is hard sometimes. Uh, it's not always going to be smiles, and it's not always going to be happy, um, and that's okay. Uh, if life was easy, then nothing would be great. Uh, so sometimes when you see frustration on my face or frustration on a teacher's face, it could be something that has nothing to do with school, and sometimes it has everything to do with school. And when you ask about what I'm passionate about, um, the start of every year, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I want to make sure that we provide a great school experience for all of our kids. And if you ever see frustration on my face, it sometimes comes from maybe a little bit of sadness, a little bit of frustration when young people do not have the foresight or the belief that they can be great. We have 1,278 students here at Rosemont Middle School. Um, do I know every single one of you by name? No. But I do know that every single one of you here has adults who care about you. and counselors, teachers, custodians, cafeteria workers, front office staff, and in a school this size, my job is to make sure that the teachers, and the other adults on the campus are investing in you guys. It's one of the reasons why we've been working so hard on the advisory lessons. It's also one of the reasons why you know we really try to provide opportunities for you guys to have fun outside of the normal school day. That being said, um, I know we can be better as a school in providing you even more opportunities. And I hear you loud and clear. When I look at your questions and when I look at what is going on, sorry for the radio, guys. Sorry for that. I had to push pause because of the radio. Anyway, uh, that being said, we can do a better job as a school in providing you those experiences. Some of the questions that I really read um, focused on, why, why do the 90% or the 95% have to pay for the 5% that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing? Why can't we have more events and opportunities and celebrations when we're doing the right thing? What privileges, can we earn for um, for doing the right thing? And the truth is, you're 100% correct. You're 100% right. Um, we should be more intentional about that. The really cool thing was I've been having one-on-one teacher conversations over the past week and a half, and they're saying the exact same things you guys are saying. And so, you know, expect to see some changes for next year. But I'm also going to appeal to you guys to start stepping up also as leaders. I want to start a fresh student leadership council for next year. Um, if you already are an active member of athletics or an active member of um, a fine arts program, if you're an active member of the after school program, if you're just a quiet leader who just works really hard in school but has some opinions and you want to have a voice, I'm going to ask you to apply to be a student leader or be a part of our student leadership council for next year. Because our plan is, instead of Mr. Sanchez creating things that you guys might like, I really want to use that student leadership council to meet at least once a month to figure out what kinds of incentives we want to have for you guys. So please know you are heard, and you are right. You've been right on that front. And so for those of you that have been doing good just because, uh, keep on doing it. But we as a school definitely want to take that next step and instill more Bronco pride. So that's the school experience side of the things. So some other things that came up, centered on, cafeteria food and things of that nature. I wish I had more control over that. Um, but as I start to have meetings here over the summer, I will start to inquire about, what are the at least the more popular foods in the cafeteria, so that we can, make sure that experience is a positive one. On the other side of the house, you heard me talk about school experiences. The other side of that is school operations, and school operations, believe it or not, is actually a huge part of my job. And it doesn't have anything to do with instruction, but it affects instruction. It affects learning, and so you guys had a lot of questions on that. Let's see here. Well, we probably have about 5 more minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into these. Some of the questions that popped up. Why iPads and MacBooks? Why have we switched over to that for next year? That district decision was made after a lot of research over where we're headed with technology, and really a big part of that too was how do we what system offers um, the best chance of not getting ruined. A lot of your Chromebooks are not in great shape after 4 years of use. So, these iPads and MacBooks seem to be a little bit sturdier. At the same time, just like we try to take care of our own homes and our cars and whatnot. We also need to take care of these iPads and MacBooks. We had about 100 kids without Chromebooks for a lot of this year because they couldn't take care of them, and that affects instruction. And so, like I said, the operations affects the instruction. Um, a lot of questions came up about hallway traffic flow, getting between buildings safely, tardies. I actually have a big meeting tomorrow on Friday to discuss exactly those types of issues with the bond program. The bond program was approved about 3 years ago and is finally starting to take shape as we head into this summer. So just know that the building might look a little bit different as we head into next year. And a lot of our discussion is going to be centered on traffic flow and how to get to classes. The one thing that I can promise you is every single classroom should be accessible in less than 5 minutes if we're doing what's right and heading directly to our classes. And so part of that conversation will definitely be what we start off with next year. Another issue came up around school cleanliness and campus monitors. Campus monitors were supposed to have three. We've had three on campus for about a month max, but for the most part, we've been working with one or two, and it has been difficult. The campus monitors, though, um, are only part of the solution. The biggest thing that I can appeal to is making sure that, again, going back to the student leadership piece, that we are not creating unsafe situations, that we're not stopping in the parking lot, that we're not cutting through the parking lot where cars might be, that we are not going in circles around the hallways and creating more traffic. And so, again, going back to the privileges side of the house, how do we reward the kids who are getting to school on time and to classes on time versus the ones who are consistently late and tardy? And so we're definitely going to tap into the parents this summer and tap into our school leadership council as we head into next year around how to make that happen. Uh, another question that came up was, and this one actually does, it really does make me sad, is around the school boundary shifts. There's going to be about 250 of the students in sixth and seventh grade this year who won't be with us next year. I know there was an opportunity for you guys to have do a transfer request, and I know a lot of those transfers were granted, but just know that all of that was sort of out of my hands, and we did try to communicate with all parents about these meetings so that we can keep as many of our Broncos as possible. Um, Either way, if you end up at McLean or at Wedgwood or at Daggett, just know that those campuses are, I know those principals personally. I know that they're trying to do a lot of the same work we're trying to do at Rosemont and share some of the same frustrations that you have. So, just know that wherever you end up, you're going to have a principal that wants more and wants better for you. I don't think I've shared this enough, but I've got a kid, a child of mine who's entering middle school next year, and I have one who's entering high school next year, and I want their experiences to be great, and so I definitely want yours to be great as well. And then, finally, we had a couple questions around restrooms, safety, and phone use. Those two am going to table for another time because I do want to really engage with other schools, other districts, other principals, your parents about cell phone use and restroom safety protocols. And so, and not to say that your voice doesn't matter on this one, but I do know that um, I need to make sure that I have the uh, clear understanding of what those policies and potential changes might look like. At the end of the day, my goal is not to uh, keep you off your cell phones. My goal is to keep you safe and focused on school. And so, whatever that looks like, we will definitely have a talk about that um, in the near future. So, um, other than that, guys, I like I said, y'all's feedback is amazing. I'm going to use this to as we create our campus plan for next year. Your big questions, your feedback from the previous Google Docs, and really just try to have a plan that I can show everyone at the beginning of the year, as we start, during that first week of school, how we are going to take that next step and become the best middle school in Fort Worth. It's going to happen, and it can only happen with you guys, with the 1,200, 1,300 students that we're going to have next year. It can only happen with you all. So thank you all so much for listening today. If you have any feedback for me, please get with your advisory teacher, and I'm sure that they will pass that feedback on to me. Okay? Y'all have a great day.